the Leather Lady, and we're going to be talking about stirrups today. If you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. I love to teach, and hopefully you'll learn something today so that you will either like or subscribe to my channel. So let's get started. We're talking about stirrups today and shims. Okay, really important to shim a stirrup if you are having problems with your ankles or your knees. Now, I do have a video out there about twisting your stirrups. Please go and watch that. That is really important for your knees. And basically, it is making your saddle to, when it's resting on a stand, that the stirrups are not going this way, but they are trained to go this way. I'll tell you why in a little bit, but we're going to talk about shimming your stirrup, which is really important too, because not only do we want to stay in alignment, we don't want our ankles rolling left or right. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to be using some pretty standard stirrups. Now, it depends on what your stirrup is. We're not talking about English stirrups today. We're talking about Western stirrups. And what we're going to be doing is showing you how to shim your stirrup. Really easy, really simple. It's something that you could do yourself. And if not, you know, send me your stirrups and I'll shim them for you. Anyway, so I'm just using a standard stirrup. Now, your stirrups may be already leathered. Your stirrups may already have a tread on the bottom. So what a tread is this part right here. That is this piece here on your stirrup. And it is the part that holds and keeps your leather all in place around your stirrup. And it also supports keeping your stirrup clean as well. And gives you a little traction. The thing is that if you're going to do this on your stirrup at home and you have a tread, you're going to have to remove it. Okay, and I'll show you some of that a little bit later. But what we're going to do is, you're like, well, why are we talking about this? So when we're riding in a stirrup, okay, we sometimes place our feet in the stirrup and our ankles roll. So it depends on how weak our knees are, how weak our ankles are, and sometimes we'll ride more on the ball of our foot. Okay, so what we want to do is instead of riding on the ball of the foot, we want to move that and put a shim in there so our foot is straight. Okay, this one here is sitting flat, and you say, well, that looks like it's sitting pretty flat. But when you put my weight in it, and if I've got bad posture or have a knee replacement like I do, that could make my knees roll. That could make my ankles roll. I have really sloppy ankles, and so it will make it roll. And then when I get off the horse after 2-3 hours of riding, I hurt like the holy heebie-jeebie dickens. Okay, and it feels like my whole hips on down are broken. So this is what we're talking about today. So we want to make sure that we've got our foot flat in the stirrup, that our stirrups are twisted so that we can rest our foot in here. When your stirrups are this way on your saddle all the time, and you have to get on the saddle, put your foot in here and twist it to get your foot there, what's happening? What is, you're putting so much pressure on the outside of your leg. It's on your soleus of your calf, and then you're going to get a shin splint, and you're going to wonder why your shins hurt, or the outside of your calf hurts all the time, because you've actually had to train that stirrup with your own foot while you're riding to turn it and move it this way. So why twist your stirrups? You want to be able to have somebody like a leathersmith, a saddle maker. You can do it yourself. I've got a video on it, so you can do it yourself. And you want to get it so that so that while it's sitting in your saddle stand and it's ready to go, so that you do not have to have that pressure riding all the time on the outside of your leg. Because let me tell you, after 3-4 hours of doing that, have you ever had your legs start quivering because it's so tired, the muscles are so tired? Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm helping you try to get rid of. Okay, so this is, again, a tread. Okay, I just threw this one together to put on here to show you what we're going to be doing after the shim. Okay, so what do we need? We need some leather. You might need one piece, you might need 2 pieces. And how long, how big, we'll talk about that. And that's what the ruler's for, to cut it. You might need a box knife to cut it. You will also need and I will show a video on how to make a tread if you don't have a tread on your stirrup, but that's not for this. You can see in the description below when I do that video, or subscribe and you'll know when I do it. But you will need something to skive. What is skiving? Skiving is thinning one side of the leather. Okay, so one side's fat, one side's thin. Okay, I have a machine that does this, or I can just pull it through and do it, and it's a lot easier for me. But not everybody has that, so you can either buy a really cheap skiver, comes with a couple of blades, and do that. I sell them on my website. I also Tandy sells them as well, same price. And then you can buy more of a professional skiver. That one's a little bit different, and it's skive straight. You can learn how to use those on a different video, or you can even go to Weaver and Tandy. They'll show you how to use them too. Or you can use a box knife. You can use a head knife if you have one. Most people don't even know what a head knife is, but you can use a box knife, okay? The way to use a box knife to skive one of these things is to just grab something that you can not care about so much. And that would be something like my big old block my mentor made me. I love it. I can't seem to cut it down because he's now gone. And anyway, I don't want to start crying. He's gone, but he taught me so much. So to skive, you know, this here, no, never cut towards yourself, guys. This is a safety thing. You always want to skive away from you, and you just cut this down, okay? You'll just keep cutting this down. I don't even have a piece of, let's see if I could do that with this. I don't want to ruin this piece because this piece is for another project, but you would just take it and start cutting it down, okay? So you would skive it down however thin you want it. Okay, and you get it. So I'm just going to go down to a point there. So you got sort of a point there, right? And it's sort of, with a knife, it's sort of choppy. So you're going to need some sandpaper. And this is good for two reasons. And you're just going to get it thin. You're going to get it smooth. And then you'll end up having something of this nature. All right. So we want to make sure that we get that skived. And the one thing that the sanding will do, it will also help with when you glue it. All right. I just don't want to do anything more with that because I'm using that for a different project. All right. So now we have a piece that is wide on one end, thin on the other. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to put this in the stirrup. So this is my right foot. So this is going to go on the thick part is going to go on the inside of my foot because I roll my ankles. So I end up having to put more pressure on the inside, okay, the way that I ride. So I have to put a little bit more thickness here. Now, if that usually should be enough. However, if it isn't, so we're going to glue that piece into the wood. But if it isn't enough, maybe you've got a little bit of a issue with your knee. Some people have one shorter leg than the other. Maybe the other one doesn't need to be skived, but this one does, or have a shim, and this one does. So what you want to do is just do the one that you feel like, okay, I'm having more problems with this foot. My knee replacement, I need one on that side, a lot more than my left side. So here we go. So what I did is I cut this as wide as the stirrup. Okay. Get that in there. There we go. It's as wide as the stirrup and about as long as wherever the flat piece is. Now, I don't tell you how many inches or the length because a lot of the times it depends on your stirrup. You've got some stirrups that are completely a circle. Now, it'd be sort of hard to do it on those. However, you still can do it, but you would probably have more pressure on the outside because those things are just so uncomfortable. Sorry, I think they are uncomfortable. So, but if I were to say that this is not enough for me, I would take another piece of leather, same thing, and I would take it and I would put it on top. Okay. and then I would see if that's going to work for me, if that piece is going to work for me. So I'm going to try to get it as exact as I can. Okay, and then I'm going to put my foot in there and see how my foot is. Now maybe I've got too much on the outside, too much on the inside, then that's where I can skive more. All right, you'll be shocked at how much even this, if it was just one, how much that's going to make a difference. You're going to be shocked. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we keep it on? What do we do? So if you don't have a tread for your stirrups, two things can happen. One, you want to make one, because that's what's going to hold it in place, and it's not going to move, and it's not going to shift, and it's not going to fall out, that kind of a thing. Or two, you can order one from my website. All right, so what we're going to do, I've got some barge here. You want to use a heavier glue. You could, some people say, well, you've got wood, are you going to use some wood glue? You can try it. It doesn't hold as good as barge. So barge is more like a glue that, woo, can get you high in a minute. It is like rubber cement glue, okay? But it is sort of what they use on shoes. There's even shoe glue that is even stronger than this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to glue. Now with barge, if you're going to use barge, the funny thing about barge is you got to let it sit for about 5 minutes. And you're like, well, yeah, but won't it be dry? Yeah, it actually looks like it is dry and acts like it is dry, but it's stickier than snot. Have you ever had a real sticky snot? That's nasty. Anyway, okay, hypothetically for time, we're going to say it's been 5 minutes. All right, super simple task to do for you. This whole thing together would probably take you 15 minutes. Maybe a half an hour if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to glue it. Okay. Now the other thing too is if you don't have any clamps, I have clamps, which I didn't put for the video. I should have. But you could take a couple of clamps and hold it on each side. Just some real simple clamps. If you don't have a clamp, you could take something real heavy. I have a steel plate here that I use for things, and I can put that on it. Just put something on it for probably half an hour or so, and then you can come back and finish whatever you need to do. If you were to need to go ahead and glue that second piece on, you needed more of that, the kind of a thing, then you would just take this and glue this right on top. But you want to make sure, okay, see what happened there? If I were to glue that, I would have just canceled out what I did. So you have to glue it the way that you have the first one set. So make sure your thick is with your thick and your thin is with your thin. All right. I've done projects and made more work for myself. Sometimes it was crazy. All right. So that you don't want to do this. This is a big no-no. That's the buzzer. Get off the stage, kind of a thing. No. All right. So this is what you want to do. So put your thick with your thick, thin with your thin, and glue those suckers down. Now, if you were going to do this, I would really strongly recommend go to Home Depot, get some clamps. Because the clamps will make it so much easier, so much faster, and they do not shift then. If I put this steel plate on there, it's very easy for this to shift and move. If something were to move it, or one side would be flat or whatever. So you can do that. Again, not everybody has all the tools and the money to go ahead and go buy some of these things. Find something that'll fit in there that's heavy, that's not going to move. Put it somewhere where it is not going to move, okay? So when you're done with that, your shim is pretty much done, okay? This is glued on solid. You got your foot, you're really happy, you're that kind of a thing. But now what do? Am I going to leave it like this and then my foot's going to catch this and it's going to go? No, so that's where we have to put a shim, or where we have to put a tread, okay? So you guys, this is a tread. This is a tread that I made just threw it together. Treads are very easy, so that's another video. However, you want to put a tread over this, and then you want to put it, you want to lace it back on. Okay, so once you're done, your tread will be on your thing. Your shim will be done underneath there. You won't even know it, but you sure will feel it. Okay, so that's how you do a shim. I hope you enjoyed this. Please go to my website, Leather Lady LLC, and we will talk to you next time on the next video. Like and subscribe.